Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show where we talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Killjoys, another great episode. This episode was just so much damn fun. There's just so many damn laughs in this episode, whether it be Pre and Zeph walking through the Badlands, and she's just kind of like, I'm done. Leave me behind, you beautiful space be free, you beautiful space butterfly. And he's like, all right, I'm gonna help you up, but this isn't the thing of like, a girl needing a man's help, or a Leafian and Westerly thing. And she's like, yeah, Pre, can this just be the nerdy girl wants a hug from the warlord? And he's like, all right, I'm good with that. It's like, oh, they're so cute together. Also, I love that Pre has shaved. I even love it, skipping around. But Garrett was like, oh, you shaved everything. He's like, well, not everything. But I was like, hey, that's the Pre I know, because I told about it before. I didn't recognize Pre at first because, he's been, hairless, the entire series, with a few exceptions where he pops up with a mustache and a goatee. With that exception, but it's like, he doesn't really have facial hair most of the series. He doesn't even have hair most of the series. So seeing him with a hair and beard kind of took me for a second. Oh, that's Pre. I didn't even notice. That's crazy. That's probably going to mess me up if I ever see the actor who plays Pre in anything else, because he'll probably have hair or look a little different because of the facial hair or hair. So it'll probably throw me off to be like, whoa, that's, regardless. I just think that's just kind of neat. Obviously, everything with Turin and meeting up with him and everything. I love Zeph being so happy and hugging him and everything. And it's like, yeah, I brought this thing. And Pre's like, why'd you bring that here, you sicko? It's like, that's such a nice response. It's like, and Turin like, hey, all right, yeah, I brought it here so that, we can make peace with it, find common ground. And Zeph's like, oh, he's like, I came here to find a way to kill it, you idiots. And I love them not wanting to even touch it or whatever. And Pre's line is so good. This thing gets free and it crawls on my face, and Zeph is like, put you out of your mercy. He's like, save me. And she's like, right, that too. That trio is so good, the way they bounce off of each other like that. What I thought was kind of interesting was the whole moment where Zeph was like, I recognize this thing, I'm just not sure where I recognize it from. And it's like, oh, she thinks it was from some old files on the raft, which I'll be like, why would the rack have any information on this? Because these things predate that. I mean, the lady's been in the green for a very, very long time, so the rack wasn't even around then, so why would they have any information? But skipping around to it, they go back to Westerly, one particular Old Town, and avoiding the death squad. And I thought it was kind of neat, because I think this is the first time we really got some Turin and Zeph time. I thought it was kind of neat, where it's just kind of oh, how'd you get so smart? Basically, her smarts comes from the fact is, it's well, I just kind of picked up a lot on my own, but it's also because, and this is something she hasn't talked about a lot. She talked about it a bit with Pip last season, but now we're getting a little bit more about her family, because for her it's my family believed that women shouldn't read because basically it fills your head with all these other thoughts, and you have too many thoughts in your head, not enough room for God, to hear God. And she was that just didn't sit right with her. So what she did is she went to she ran away to a Scarbat monastery. She studied on her, she went to, got an education, tried out for the Killjoys, and found a family, a real family, because she has a very complicated history, she does, with her family, but it's now she found this great family with the Killjoys, with the team, the squad, And so I thought that was kind of a beautiful sentiment and whatnot, and especially for Turin, because he has so much faith in her, because she is the brainiac that she is. And the fact of the matter is, because she's like, yeah, you were right, I don't belong out in the field, I should be in the lab. He's like, when did I say that? She's like, when I first joined the Killjoys. And he was like, right, she was like, you were kind of shitty to me, which he was basically I'm shitty to everyone, that's my brand. But for him, it's don't worry about what Dutch wants or what Dutch would do or needs. Focus on what you need and what you can do, because you are the brains to this operation. You're literally the only one that can figure this whole situation out. So he leads the Death Squad away to kind of give Zeph time alone. And he's like, see you around, kid, if I make it through it. Which I'm like, come on, Turin, don't do it. Don't be one of those situations where one of the main characters dies at the end near the end of the season. Not even at the end of the season, near the end of the series. But it's please don't do that. Oh, that was super sweet. Him almost playing like this, you know, because he's like the begrudging father of the group. It's like he's always got to reel the kids in. He's got to be old man Turin, always like, oh, these damn whippersnappers, shut up before I stick my foot up your ass type of situation, you know. And that's what we love about Turin. Like I said, it's so crazy because at the beginning it's like, oh, he's such an asshole, but then he's become. It's so interesting because Fancy's the asshole. It's like, come on, Turin's the real asshole, but they're both lovable assholes. I feel like Fancy, he can be a jerk. I feel like the real asshole is Turin, but he's our lovable asshole, you know? So I just think that's so neat. We don't find out what it is where Zeph figured it all out, like how she knows where that's from, but it's like, oh, I know where we can figure out stuff about the lady. I'm like, so where does she recognize it from? I'm like, my mind immediately goes, it's from her family, isn't it? It's something like her family was religious, right? She probably worshipped something, so that's probably where she remembers it from, like worship books. So we're getting all this backstory about her family. We're probably going to get her confronting her family potentially next episode. I didn't look at the previews. This is just me jumping to that conclusion. If you don't know, I rarely watch previews because I try not to, because I just like to formulate my own thoughts without other things kind of, you know, interfering with that. Just from where I've seen it within the episode, I always try to jump to my own thoughts. And also, it's just like, I want to be surprised when the episode ends up airing, you know? So that's always been my mentality about that, if you're curious. But nevertheless, so I'm thinking it's going to have ties to her family, because like I feel like what other connection could there be? Like, because it wasn't the rack, so it's like, where else would you potentially see stuff? Now that'd be interesting, because we'll probably learn a lot more about their species. We learned a little bit from the lady herself last season. We still don't know a lot about her and her species. I mean, to be fair, it's just her that's left because of her. She's the only one that's left because, you know, once again, her babies are clones. So I also love that line. I love when TV shows do that. I don't know. I'm weird when it's like, when Johnny's like, oh, I guess I'm the one that gets stuck with the whole impossible task. I guess it must be a Tuesday. And Davin's like, actually, it's a Friday. And Johnny flips him on. I don't know why. Like, I always get giddy when TV shows get referential and kind of mention the actual day that they're airing. So I wonder, did it actually air on a Tuesday in the past or some point? I'd probably have to look into that. Like, in the time I've known, it's always aired on Fridays. I don't know, not unless season 1 aired on Tuesday or something like that. I don't think so, but I could be wrong. I assume Friday's kind of like that night for sci-fi in certain regards. You get what I'm trying to say, regardless. So that's all happening. They get a couple prisoners. I love that dude. It's like, yeah, he walks on the beach, the blood of his enemies, and cake. Wait, no. No, that says cannibal. It's like, well, Davin's like, does he eat bad people or good people? He's like, well, I just kind of eat people. So, but he's like, I'm better now. And Davin's like, no, sorry about that, buddy. We're not taking you. He's like, no, that's fair. I completely understand. But who did they get instead? Calvert. And I love that she's literally in the cell choking someone. It's like, oh, hey guys. So they're bringing her on the mission. She's getting excited. She's like, oh, did you feel the grass? It's like, she's a little bit of crazy. So, and I love that they show up there and it's like, holy crap, it's not an actual base necessarily, it's more of a theme park, because it's like, was it militainment? And I love that she's saying all that, and Davin's like, I hate everything you're saying right now. I guess because as a military dude, it hits him the wrong way, but it's just basically because Kresh kind of cuts like their funding every once in a while and stuff like that with cutbacks and stuff, so they had to find another way to kind of get some money, and that was during tourist attraction and stuff like that. So it's like no guns ablazing, kind of shooting our way out of here, because it's like, it's kind of just innocent people here too, so it kind of takes the fun out of it. I love it. It's like Johnny being like, so we're gonna have to like act normal around, like normal and happy around people. What? Because they're so used to kind of kicking it and having to pretend to be something else, but now you have to be normal people. It's like, but we're not normal. How we do normal? And Davin's like, this might be the toughest undercover job we've done before. I love that. Being normal is the toughest thing. And I love when Dutch and Davin are giving that presentation and we cut back to them just like bullshitting around. And I love it. And he's like, yeah. And the kid's like, yeah, that thing isn't real. She's like, yes, it is. Dutch is like, yes, it is. Shut up. And he's like, and she's like, were you there at that time? He's like, no, but books were there. It's like, and Davin says something too. It's just like, I love them being so childish. It's so good. So there's that. There's also the situation where it's like, okay, they're tied up and everything, and she's like, Johnny, you know what to do? And Johnny's like, yeah, got small, and he goes down between Dutch's legs, and she's like, yeah, harder, faster, yeah, just like that, Johnny. And then Davin's on the other side, not seeing anything. He's just hearing this, and just like, and it's like, wait, what? It's like, dude, I love it. It's not like you're even trying to hide it. That was so blatant. It's not. I mean, it's not even blatant when you're just being so obvious with it. I love it though. And he's like, "What are you two doing?" And she's like, "Trying to get this device so we can get free." Like, what did you think was happening? It's kind of like he didn't even answer that. I love that. That's so good. I also love the whole situation of like, it's like. If it was just, I don't know why it's taking longer between you and me to get freed. If it was just me and Johnny, this would have gotten a lot faster. He's like, can you please not mention my brother's name while we're like touching butts? And she's like, is that where you draw the line? He's like, yeah, my brother's name is a safe word. It's like, 5 more minutes of this and one of us might walk away from this pregnant. It's like, they're so adorable. But then they have a real serious talk that I thought was really beautiful. It's actually a continuation of the conversation last episode between Dutch and Johnny, where Davin's like, Johnny told me about the sabbatical situation, so are you totally fine with Johnny leaving? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, liar. But the fact of the matter is, it's actually because it's so beautiful, because Johnny was like, he was worried that if he didn't walk away, it'd impact his relationship with Dutch, because they've always been tight, and he's afraid that if he walks away, that relationship might not be the same. Maybe she won't feel the same way about him anymore, because maybe she'll feel like, oh, you left me behind. But Davin kind of thinks about it kind of in a similar thing, because it's like, if Johnny leaves, that's just going to leave the two of them together. They've never been together for a long period of time. I mean, they have, that being like the point between season 2's finale and season 3, a couple episodes in the beginning of season 3 when they were kind of on their own. But I guess it's like that was more so in a mission. They were killjoying it up, but that was still kind of a part of everything. It was kind of about Anila and all of that. So there was precedent, like stuff that took precedence at that time. So I guess that's more so. But this would just be us potentially having saved the universe and everything. And then we got, that. So it's like, I just thought that was so interesting. That they kind of see Johnny's departure wouldn't just affect Johnny and Dutch's relationship, it also would change things between Davin and Dutch, because they haven't been alone for a very long time. I mean, because it's something I recently referenced in a review. Was it yesterday? I think. Yeah, in Thursday's review of the Outpost, I made a reference to Killjoys, because I'm like, there's always been tidbits. I mean, it's kind of disappeared at this point in time, but for a while there was the whole back in season 1 when Davin lost control and tried to kill Dutch. Tried to kill her and tried to kill Johnny. That led to the complications. That things were a little awkward between them for a while. So, I think that might be a thing of that's kind of when we were alone. Granted, Johnny was still around at the time, obviously, but still, you get what I'm trying to say. So I just think that's kind of fascinating. Which I also love. Still, there's the whole unknown factor of Anila and Delsea, because that's still something that none of the Killjoys, none of anyone on a prison ship, not Turin, not Pre, none of them, not Zeph, knows about that angle of things. We as the audience are the only ones know that those two are in play right now. So there's that. I just thought that was kind of a beautiful moment. And I guess kind of tying that in would be the whole Garrett situation, because Pre kind of was like, yo, what's up with, you wouldn't know what you know, Garrett. So are you awake or are you a spy? And obviously Garrett's kind of pissed, because it's like, you let me kind of schlepp around here like an idiot while you were doing what you're doing. Like, the fact of the matter is, this isn't a war. This is Armageddon. So there's no winning this. Dutch isn't going to come in to save the day. It's actually kind of interesting, because it's actually, Pre is actually the most optimistic, because the fact of the matter is, he was like, despite all the shit I've been through, all I've seen, the fact of the matter is, Zeph, you're going to be the one to figure it all out. I'm supposed to just be here because I'm standing here because I'm the one that's supposed to be the eye candy of it. And I love that he bats his eyes while he's saying it too. But the whole thing with Garrett, he just feels like the fact is our partnership isn't equal. But for Pre, it comes from that sweet spot of being like, no, I love you and care about you. If anything happened to you, I don't know what I'd do. The fact of the matter is, in my older age now, because it's basically, I'm not that, despite my melatonin, and basically my youthful look, I'm not as young as I used to be. For me, now that I'm older, it's not about building stuff. It's about protecting what you already got. And that includes Garrett. But for Garrett, it's like, we got to be a partnership. We got to be, more even. But he's like, Pre's like, kind of like, have you met me? It's kind of hard to be on my level. But, kind of putting all that aside and being with each other again. I think I love that, like, the sweetness all around with just all these relationships. Kind of circling back to Davin and Dutch, and Davin's like, so when Johnny leaves, do you want me to stay? And Dutch is like, do you want to stay? And they don't get an answer, but it's like, it's a yes and yes. Dutch wants Davin to stay, and Davin wants to stay. Like, because the fact of the matter is, this is, he loves Dutch, she loves him, and it's like, I think this is where they want to be, working beside each other. I think not taking from Dutch and Johnny's relationship, but I think Davin and Dutch will find their own flow, their own dynamic, potential without Johnny being there. Like I said, it could just be a situation when it's all said and done that Zeph might feel that will while Johnny's away, and she becomes a part. Well, she's, like I said, I brought it up before. She's already a part of Team Awesome Force, but now Team Awesome Force might be more shaped, more triangle than square. I mean, to be fair, it's molded into much more too, but obviously the three of them kind of represent the triangle, the pyramid that is Team Awesome Force. You get what I'm trying to say. The pyramid's not dark. Well, I guess pyramid would kind of be where things are right now if you kind of include everybody. But regardless, that's me kind of going on in a whole tangent. But I did like the whole back and forth between Johnny and Calvert. It was actually kind of nice. It's not like she's just crazy, because for her, and it was kind of sweet because, for her, it's like, don't call me a sociopath. It's like, wait, did you read out my files? And he's like, no, because that's the word they just throw around, because it's that way to be like, oh, we diagnosed you out, we're hands off, kind of. It's their excuse, so they don't really give you the help you need. For her, like, she has a daughter out there named Harper, that she's trying to get back to, and she's like, I will run away to get back to her every chance I get. But then Johnny takes his time to be like, because obviously Calvert had been like, okay, the fact of the matter is you haven't told us what's up, but he finally does, and it's like, yeah, the lady, truth be told, well, because there's that funny bit at the beginning, which is like, it's so interesting because the lady's becoming more and more human, because she was like, so Klein, are you done grieving yet? Do you want a snack? Yes or no? And he's just like, leave me alone. She's like, you're so boring when you're sad. And he's like, all humans are boring when they're sad. And she's talking about, oh, look at me, I'm being so clever, I'm gonna work all these humans and not give them breaks anymore. So basically it's going to be 8 days instead of the couple weeks that Johnny and them believe that they have. And he's like, no, you're just going to work them to death. She's like, who cares? The fact of the matter is I'm gonna get what I want at the end of the day anyway, so it kind of works out. Something that also should be noted, though, we did see it, though, even though Turin and Zeph closed the door with the creature down there in the lab, I believe it is going to get out. It might have tracked down Turin and possessed him. Maybe, potentially, we'll see. But, because we still haven't 100% got a way to potentially get that out of a host, because it seems like the moment it leaves a host, it kills them, so... at least with the lady, we don't know if the same thing applies to her copies. I would assume it does, but we'll ultimately have to wait and see in that regard. Also, really quickly, I love it when Johnny does, because they were saying, like, dude, if we let Johnny save us, he's never going to let us down. And then he walks in, he's like, dude, do I literally have to do everything? Can't you guys do anything for yourselves? So that was kind of nice. When Fancy showed up, I was worried, because I was like, oh man, that's not really Fancy. Especially when Fancy shows up to save them. I'm like, oh, that's the real Fancy. The Fancy that went to save Zeph is a fake. It's like, no, it's all the same Fancy. Because I was like, oh, he's getting led down a path. It didn't click in my head to think, oh, it was Lucy, which it turns out Lucy's back, which I'm like, I'm so excited, because she's like, yeah, I'm celebrating. Because Lucy, when she basically went there and kind of got to onto the ship, she ended up activating protocol I Love Lucy, which that's super sweet. I like that. Just obviously just because of the reference of like what it means in the show, but also within the reference of like, oh, obviously referencing like the TV show I Love Lucy. Obviously I don't think within the confines of the show it has the same context of referencing the TV show, but you get what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I just thought that was like, oh, they're back. It's like, I thought Lucy was gone forever. I thought like Lucy was gonna be, but it's like, no, Lucy's back, and she's like, the fact of the matter is, we have a baby. He's like, wait, whoa. It's like, yeah, she's ours. She has your eyes. And Johnny's like, Lucy, stop. It's like, dude, that's so cool to think about. It's like, oh, that's so awesome. It's like, but we didn't really have any interactions between Lucy and Lucy. But still, I think that might be something we see going forward. Either way, it's nice to have Lucy back, and this whole it's so good. Like I said, this episode was like, obviously there's serious points to it, but there's so much fun to it as well, you know? Right, finishing up what I was talking about before with Calvert. Now that she knows the deal, you know, Johnny is like, I'll get you back to your daughter, because the fact of the matter is, once the lady's done with, you know, Westerly, she's going to go to the other, you know, she's going to go to Leaf. She's also going to go to Crash, which is one I brought up before, which is so crazy that the whole Crash problem is happening between like the families and stuff like that, considering what's going down right now, you know? It's like they're acting like what's happening with Wesley isn't going to be their problem when it's directly affecting them, but also soon enough it's going to be their problem because she's going to consume the entire quad and then the J and then beyond that, I'm assuming. So it's not just going to stop in Westerly. So there's all of that. So now Team Awesome Force is reunited. Granted, they got to keep up with Pre, Garrett, and Turin, which hopefully they end up running into each other because they're all in Westerly. So the team is almost fully together, and they're constructing a plan. Granted, they don't know about Klein on the ship, and once again, they don't know about Anila and Delsea. Dude, we are counting down to the wire. This was episode 7. We've got 3 episodes of Killjoys left. Like I said, things are ticking down, and I'm so excited to see where everything takes us going forward into the next episode. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Until next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.